Greetings, everybody. This is Mike with Soundstage EDU, and I wanted to drop in here before the weekend hit and give you one last thing to listen to and think about over the weekend. Before we move forward, if you have found anything helpful about what we've been doing here with this work, go ahead and hit follow on this show, wherever you're listening to it. That helps the algorithm get this message out to more people. Also, while you're at it, go find us on Facebook, soundstage.edu. Follow us there. You can also follow my personal profile, Mike DeJohn. And we have these conversations a lot there. So here's what I'm getting at today. This week has been a busy week inside of the social media groups. I mean, that's where we all live these days. So this is not weird. This is where we come to vent. This is where we come to commiserate. It's where we come to source information and ideas. And that's great. Let's keep doing that. But I watched a parent ask a simple question this week. And apparently there was some history to it because she's like, hey, if you guys have been following, whatever. I'm not looking at it right now because I'm just not looking at it right now. I'm trying to get through this. But they basically made the comment like, hey, are our bylaws even being followed? Kind of a standard post in this realm, if you ask me. But for whatever reason, this one really caught some fire. And within 50 comments of this original post, she became the villain. It wasn't the fact that there were missing meetings or there was a lack of elections, and it wasn't any money issues. In this whole situation, the parent became the problem. And if that doesn't tell you everything you need to know about booster culture right now, I honestly don't know what will. But okay, so like I said, it's Friday, and I want to give this to you so you have something to sit with this weekend and really think through. Because what I saw this week wasn't just a messy Facebook thread. I mean, it was messy. There's a lot of comments. Took a while to read through them all. But what I saw was a perfect snapshot of what is happening inside of booster organizations all over the country. And if you're in one of these programs, and if you're listening, if you're in this group, you most likely are, because I believe that if you're a parent with a kid in a program and you're supporting said kid, you are a booster. You don't have to sit on the board to be a booster, and y'all can argue with me all you want about that. Any supporting parent is a booster, period. So if you're in one of these programs, you're either living this, you're watching this happen, or you are actually contributing to it without maybe even realizing that you're doing it. So we're going to lay out the situation here, nice and clean. We've got a parent with 2 years into a program. It's never seen the bylaws. There haven't been meetings. There's no elections, and there's absolutely no financial transparency according to the post. They finally get the bylaws. They read through them and they realize, wait, almost none of this is being followed. And I challenge y'all, if you haven't read your bylaws, read them and see if this is happening to you too. See if they're being followed. See if they are relevant to your current reality of your program, or if it's something that was written 20, 30 years ago and has never been updated. It's a pretty common problem. So after reading those, she does what a lot of people will do in this situation, and she asks questions. And that's when everything breaks. And I've heard this from many of you also in private conversations and private consultation phone calls, that the minute you ask questions, you get pushed into a corner. And we need to find a way to stop that from happening. So at first, it's subtle. It really is. People responded in this thread with, have you talked to the director? Maybe there's a misunderstanding. Or try setting up a meeting. And on the surface, that all sounds very reasonable. But in that, amongst all that, the tone starts to shift. And in that shift, that people start responding with things like, why are you posting this publicly? You sound like you have an agenda. My favorite, just enjoy your 4 years. And then the one that really hurts, you're going to ruin this for your kid. And just like that, we're no longer talking about the fact that there's missing governance here, that there are clear and present bylaw violations, and this all leads to organizational risk. Now we're talking about tone, personality, or whether or not this parent is, quote unquote, a problem. That right there, that's the moment that everything gets flipped. And I'm going to spell out the pattern here, because this isn't random. It is a pattern I'm recognizing everywhere I look right now. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. So I might as well unpack that here again. And we'll keep unpacking this until we all start to see it. Some will, some won't. That's fine. The first pattern that I'm seeing is that the system will protect itself. It always does. When someone questions the structure, authority, money, or transparency, the system, more often than not, does not respond with clarity. It responds with defense. Because if that question that's being asked is valid, then it's a very real possibility that the system might be broken. And if the system is broken, then the people inside of it are exposed. So once that realization happens, what happens next? The system will shift its focus. And it'll say things like, don't look at the problem. Look at the person asking the question. Let's question them. You see what happens here? We want to protect the system and put the blame on a person. And I say it all the time, you don't have a people problem, you have a system problem. And that's very clear right here. Hey, don't look at the problem. Look at the person asking the question. And let's blame them. The other pattern I'm seeing is the statement of, this is for the kids. This one drives me crazy. I mean, it literally makes me want to pull my hair out sometimes. And you hear it in every thread. Just do what's best for the kids. Don't create drama for the kids. Your kid only has 4 years. Just deal with it. Let me translate that for you. These people are saying, in these cases, in my opinion, don't challenge anything that makes us uncomfortable. So you're weaponizing that very phrase of for the kids. Because here's the truth. Following your bylaws is for the kids. Financial transparency is for the kids. And proper governance is for the kids. But that version that is for the kids, requires accountability. And I have come to recognize that for a lot of people, accountability is, in fact, uncomfortable for them. The next pattern that I'm seeing is, conflict avoidance being seen as greater than compliance. Most people in these groups would rather avoid tension, keep things quiet, maintain relationships, and then ask, are we actually doing this correctly? And that right there is how a bad process can survive. That's how power gets concentrated and risk quietly builds for years, sometimes decades. It's that slow incremental drift that I've talked about. Another pattern I'm seeing is that just get through it mentality. This one shows up a lot. I'm not going to say every time, but it's almost every time. You only got 2 years left. Just write it out. Heard in another thread, just shut up and deal with it. That mindset is how a broken system stays broken. Because every parent says, it's not my problem, I'll be gone soon. And then the next group inherits the same mess. And then the next, and the next. This is not sustainable. And we don't need to be doing that for the people coming in. Because what we're doing is we are engineering a system that's going to become more and more difficult, and eventually it's going to collapse, and a whole host of kids are going to lose their program. They're going to lose their support. And I understand that mindset of I'll be gone soon, it's not my problem, but it is. Because this is a legacy for all of us, these programs that we are building and creating and structuring. People are always going to look back on the people that built it. Now, I'm going to say something important because I don't deal in one-sided takes. Can a parent approach this the wrong way? Absolutely. They can do that with public escalation that's too early, legal language that's too fast, and allowing emotional tone to take over. All of that matters. And I'm seeing that in some of these too. But here's the problem. Even when the approach isn't perfect, that does not invalidate the issue. And what I saw in that thread was this. People were more concerned with how she said it than what she was actually saying. And that's dangerous. Let me make this clear. Because this is the part that most of y'all are going to tune out from. People love to ignore this part. If you are a 501c3, your bylaws are not optional. I don't know how many other parents I have seen say that. And I wish I could collect all of you up so we can do a big old episode together talking about how we feel that, why we believe, why we know that bylaws are not optional. I'm sure they have stories, because the people that tend to put their feet in the ground and dig in when they say, no, this is not a suggestion, these are a requirement, they're usually in that position because they've been through something that happened. And I want to hear those stories and hear how you resolved them, how you got through it. But back to 501c3. Your processes that you have built into your system, built into your bylaws, built into your procedures, built into your SOPs, those are not flexible either. You write these articles for a reason, because you are a IRS governed, district overseen situation. We need to be by the letter. And also, I see this a lot. You use language that the younger generations like to use. Your governance is not vibes based. Okay? There's processes and procedures that need to be carried out. It's not how we feel in the moment. If you're not having meetings, if you're not having elections, if there's no financial transparency, that's not something you file in underneath the "this is just how we do things" column. It's not. Because if you're not doing those things, that's exposure. You're creating exposure for your group. Legal exposure, financial exposure, personal liability exposure. So many people think that when they come into these groups and they take up these positions, or they work alongside them, or they do anything inside of these groups, that they have no liability whatsoever. But you do. And here's the kicker. Because although many of you probably in the back of your mind understand that there's legal, financial, and personal exposure that can happen here, I get the strong impression that nobody really cares until something breaks. And then you care. Suddenly, you have people jumping into these comments or these threads or making these posts. Why didn't anyone say anything? How did this happen? Who's responsible? Or when something hits the news, everybody comes in and says, I can't believe that person did that. Well, look, you know who's responsible? The entire culture that said, just keep the peace. So why does this feel like drama? And why do I say it's actually not? It looks like drama because it's emotional. It's public. It's messy. But underneath all of that, this is governance. Plain and simple. Adults not doing their jobs correctly inside of an organization that is supposed to operate with structure. So that's not trauma. That's a systems failure. So let's get practical about this. If you find yourself in this situation, know the documents. Not kind of, not casually. Know them. I want you to know specifics about your documentation. Not feelings, not generalizations. Let's track the specific violations. When these situations rise up, and that needs to be addressed, address these as process, not people. Because the moment it becomes personal, you will lose leverage. When you need to address these things, use formal channels. Board, administration, proper escalation. Not Facebook first. You're going to get a lot of armchair attorneys and CPAs in here that are going to more than likely give you emotional and ill-timed advice. Go to your board, go to your administration, and properly escalate from there. Sure, social media is a great source of information sometimes, but don't come in here and be specific about your situations. Find someone trusted that you can reach out to them and discuss it with them before you take the public step. I mean, that's what Soundstage EDU is for. Send me an email, soundstageedu@gmail.com, or visit our website, soundstageedu.com. Click the triage and intake form, answer the questions, tell me your story. Also, when you're in this situation, you need to be prepared for resistance because you're not just fixing a problem. You're challenging a culture. I saw someone say today that none of this would be a problem if you had strong culture. And I get that. It's very true. But it's not just that. It's not just strong culture. You need to have strong systems that are supported by strong culture. Because culture wraps itself around everything that we're doing in here. And the minute you challenge the system, you are challenging the culture. Remember that. You will meet resistance. Here's reality. Most people listening to this, if you're still here, will nod along. They will agree with everything I just said. And then go right back into their program and they'll stay quiet. Why? Because it's easier. It's safer. It's not worth the fight. But understand this. Every time you choose silence over structure, you're voting for the system to stay exactly as it is. Advocacy is not silence. Advocacy can get messy. And you know what? Maybe that works for you. Maybe being silent works for you and your program, but it won't work for everyone. Okay? There are different situations in here that respond differently. And silence will not work for everyone. And then eventually, I'm convinced, it won't work at all. This isn't about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about being the one who understands what the room is actually supposed to be doing. And I've said it before, if this made you uncomfortable, Good. That tells me that you're paying attention. That tells you that you're paying attention. There's going to be more of these. So make sure you stick around, follow the show, follow us on socials. Go to soundstageedu.com, join the website, get on the mailing list. We'll be dripping information about this out to you guys when we can. But every time there's a hot topic coming up, there's an explosion of the similar situations across the multiple groups that we are in, we will address them. Because this is information that you guys need to hear, because this is an ever-growing cultural issue, an ever-growing structural issue. So our systems are constantly under stress, and we need to adapt to the times that are changing. This has been Mike with Soundstage EDU. You guys have a great weekend.